What's up mga kuya? Welcome back to the channel. So this is my full review sa Xiaomi Redmi 10, ang recently lang na na-release na budget phone from Xiaomi. And of course, shoutout to Xiaomi for sending me a unit of their Redmi 10. And if you want to watch my unboxing, ASMR unboxing neto, you can watch it here. So mabibili niyo yung Xiaomi Redmi 10 in 3 variants with 3 color options. The base version with 4 gigs of memory with 64 gigs of storage, 4 gigs of memory with 128 gigs of storage, and 6 gigs and 128 gigs of storage, which is the one that I have in the sea blue color option. So also available in a carbon gray and pebble white option. And siguro para sa akin yung pinakasulit na variant neto is yung 6 gig 128 gig variant for 8590. So again, you're getting 6 gigs of memory with 128 gigs of storage for only 8590 lang. And of course, ito yung full spec list. Pwede nyo na lang i-pause yung video. Pero ito yung main specs na kailangan nyo lang malaman. So this has a 6.5-inch LCD, 90Hz 1080p display covered in Corning Gorilla Glass 3, MediaTek Helio G88, which is a solid performer for the most part, 50-megapixel main sensor on a quad camera setup with a 5000 mAh battery and 18 watts of fast charging. And magsisimula tayo sa build quality and design. So siguro to some people, this may be an attractive design. Itong parang gradient effect na to sa sea blue color option na meron ako. Not a big fan of it, especially considering na plastic back lang to. Yes, plastic back lang yung back ng Redmi 10. So this will scratch really easily, although nung time na tinetest ko to, gamit ko siya with the soft clear TPU case. And at the back, ito nga po yung Redmi logo along with AI photography system written here, quad camera system with the single LED flash, and the 50 megapixel camera written here. And sa right side, dito nyo makikita yung flat power button / fingerprint scanner and volume rockers, which are okay. They're not the clickiest, but of course expect that considering this is a budget phone. And fairly quick and accurate naman ang side-mounted fingerprint scanner. Not the fastest, but accurate nevertheless. And sa left side, ito nga po ang SIM card tray. So this can take up to 2 nano SIMs and a single micro SD card. And hindi in-indicate ng Xiaomi, meron tayong rubber seal around sa outer part ng SIM card tray, which leads me to believe na at least splash resistant tong Xiaomi Redmi 10. Although not IP certified, but at least based sa rubber seal na to, na splash resistant at least ang Xiaomi Redmi 10. Sa taas na dito yung 3.5mm headphone jack, 2 holes for the top speaker grill. Yes, dual stereo speakers nga po yung nandito sa Redmi 10, IR blaster, secondary noise cancelling microphone. At the bottom, we have the main microphone, USB Type-C port, and the bottom firing speaker grill. And sa harap, of course, nandiyan nga po ang 6.5-inch LCD display with a fairly sizable bottom chin. Sa taas na display, we have the 8-megapixel front-facing camera in a hole punch, and the earpiece speaker grill, which unfortunately, hindi ginamit ng Xiaomi na sama sila mag-output ng audio ng top speaker grill na ito. And hindi balance yung sound output mula sa stereo speakers neto, so mas malakas yung bottom firing speaker grill significantly kumpara sa top firing speaker grill. And bibigyan ko ng solid A ang build quality ng Xiaomi Redmi 10. Even though na plastic, all plastic yung frame neto, it barely flexes if I try to bend it. So yeah, very nice. Although babalik nga po tayo sa likod neto, which is this glossy finish, glossy plastic pa. So sobrang fingerprint magnet niya, and it will accumulate scratches fairly easily. And for the display, meron nga po tayong 6.5-inch 90Hz LCD display with a resolution of 1080 by 2400, all covered in Corning Gorilla Glass 3. Di naman ako masyado magko-complain doon since budget phone nga to, so for the most part, Corning Gorilla Glass 3 works okay. And of course, pwede nyong iset sa display settings kung gusto nyo 90Hz or 60Hz, pero most likely once na ma-experience mo ang 90Hz or anything above 60Hz, hindi ka na babalik sa 60Hz. So, ayun. And fairly color accurate naman yung display neto with neutral colors and plenty viewable outdoors naman for the most part. And considering yung price tag netong Redmi 10, sobrang ganda ng display neto actually for the price. And pretty minimal lang yung color shift neto at extreme angles, although doubt ko na gagamitin nyo to or manonood kayo sa display neto at well, these types of angles. So, ayun. And moving on na nga po tayo sa cameras dito sa Xiaomi Redmi 10. So, we have a quad camera setup with a 50 megapixel main sensor, f1.8 aperture, 8 megapixel ultra-wide sensor, f2.2 aperture, 2 megapixel macro sensor, 2.4 aperture, and the depth sensor, 2 megapixels, f2.4 aperture din. And of course, pictures taken in good lighting kahit na budget phone to are actually pretty good. It tends to overexpose a bit. But in terms of colors, fairly neutral naman yung colors neto. And dynamic range is actually good. Plus, makakuha ka pa ng mga decent ultra-wide shots gamit ito. And of course, kung magtitake ka ng pictures sa gabi or kahit anong low-light situations, talagang mag-fall apart yung mga pictures mo. Although, ang laking tulong ng night mode neto which will significantly improve the quality of your low-light or nighttime shots if you don't mind holding your phone for a few seconds. And para naman sa front-facing camera neto, we have an 8 megapixel sensor with an f2.0 aperture and you can take some pretty good selfies. And on the video side naman, unfortunately, you can take a max of 1080p, 30 fps, same goes for the front-facing camera. And wala pa siyang stabilization na ino-offer. Okay, so this is like the vlog test para dito sa Xiaomi Redmi 10 at 1080p 30 fps. And siguro the only thing about the video quality na, or rather with the video, is wala siyang stabilization na available. And what you're hearing right now is from the main microphone of the Redmi 10. So para sa cameras ng Xiaomi Redmi 10, this is actually a solid camera system, especially considering that this is a budget phone, and I would easily give it a B-. And in terms of performance, again, we have a MediaTek Helio G88 along with a Mali G52 GPU and eMMC storage. Ilan talaga yung parang siguro masasabi kong deal breaker since some budget phones, siguro most budget phones, meron na silang UFS storage. Ito, nag-downgrade yung Xiaomi sa eMMC storage, which is kind of a head scratcher. Although yeah, dito sa variant na meron ako, you do get 6 gigs of memory with 128 gigs of storage, pero ayun, hindi naman sobrang bagal yung eMMC dito, pero nanggagaling kasi ako mula sa Poco X3 Pro which is, well, super fast. So hindi naman siya slow by any means, pero mararamdaman mo talaga yung bagal ng eMMC storage kapag nag-open up ka ng mga apps, especially yung mga games. So for example, itong Genshin Impact. So dito mo talaga mararamdaman yung bagal ng Xiaomi Redmi 10 because of that eMMC storage. Games like Genshin Impact, which is a graphically demanding game, will load for quite a while. Although kaya niya namang i-run at 60 fps at the lowest settings. So again, we have Genshin Impact at the lowest settings at 60 fps with motion blur and bloom turned off. Usually kasi sa ito ng graphic settings, on yung motion blur and bloom. So yeah, this is how it runs on the Xiaomi Redmi 10. Pero makakaramdam ka pa din ng mga occasional stutters dito sa Xiaomi Redmi 10 when playing Genshin Impact. Although kung gusto mo talaga na smooth experience, kailangan mong ibaba sa 30 fps, although parang same lang din eh. So mag 60 fps ka na, and again, hindi naman serious yung stutters naman ito. And okay naman yung RAM management dito sa Xiaomi Redmi 10, especially dito sa 6GB version nito, which can easily have multiple apps open in the background. And yeah, surprisingly, this can run Ark Survival Evolve at low settings. Yeah, considering na mararan mo lang yung Ark Survival Evolve at only 30 fps, and hindi pa ata available yung 60 fps dito if I'm not mistaken. So yeah. And just like with Genshin Impact, magkakaroon ka din dito ng mga occasional stutters here and there, pero nothing too serious naman. So as long as na nagbabrowse ka lang sa UI ng Xiaomi Redmi 10 paired with that 90Hz display, then fairly smooth naman maging experience nito as long as na hindi ka naman nag-open ng madaming apps or apps na tulad ng Genshin Impact or Ark Survival Evolved na it will take quite a while para mag-load up yung app. So in terms of performance, masasabi ko lang na it's okay. Dahil nga dun sa eMMC, yun lang talaga yung nag-hold back sa phone na to in terms of performance. And pagdating naman sa battery life ng Xiaomi Redmi 10, 5,000 mAh battery with 18 watts of fast charging. Excellent yung battery life neto. Although yung charging brick na kasama neto has a max output of 22.5 watts, up to 18 watts lang yung kaya na itong Xiaomi Redmi 10. So palagay na natin na light user ka lang and gagamitin mo lang to for social media and YouTube, and gagamitin mo lang 4 to 5 hours a day, then you can expect to end the day with 60% left. Yes. Pero if medium to heavy user naman kayo tulad ko and gagamitin nyo to for social media, YouTube, some picture taking, and gaming, then you can expect to end the day with 40% left with 6 hours of screen on time. And if medyo hardcore mobile gamer naman kayo and gagamitin nyo to for gaming straight all day, something like Wild Rift or ML, then you can expect to get an average of 9 hours of screen on time and charge it before the end of the day. And if the-charge po naman yung Redmi 10, then you can do that from 0 to 100 in 1 hour and 50 minutes using the included fast charger. So, ang verdict ko sa Xiaomi Redmi 10, so overall solid budget phone naman siya. Talagang medyo tagilid ka pagdating sa speed ng storage, since again, eMMC storage nga lang po yung gamit nito, pero para sa akin good value naman siya for 8590, at least para dito sa 6GB 128GB variant. And for the price and sa specs na makukuha mo, then you can't really complain. Again, 90Hz display, MediaTek Helio G88, quad camera setup, solid camera system para dito, and muntik ko na nga pala makalimutan, but this is how the speakers sound. So yeah, overall masasabi ko na solid budget phone itong Xiaomi Redmi 10. Hindi ko masasabi na best budget phone right now, pero if kaya nyong isagad yung budget nyo, then go for the Common 17 Pro or the Poco X3 Pro, both at 10K. But yeah mga kuya, that's gonna do it for my review on the Xiaomi Redmi 10. Of course, if gusto nyo itong bilhin, then I'll leave the links in the description. Of course, leaving a like is the easiest way to support the channel. Consider subscribing if you like my content, and turn on notifications for all para maging updated kayo sa latest videos ko. As always, stay safe mga kuya. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Now I'm serving a Tesla. Going back, shawty with me, I stepped up. GTA for the ops and on Leicester. Shawty born to be my angel, yeah, I'm blessed up. Cooking right up in the stew, got a cheddar fan. Yeah, I'm watching